All right, y'all. Welcome back to my channel. It's me, Kay. We're here for another Friday for the Shy Season 8, Episode 4, called White Widow. Y'all, and I was just looking. I was taking notice of, some of the titles, and I'm like, White Widow. And so I had to look that up. And so basically it says a white widow is a person, a woman specifically, who is good at living two different lives. And she's able to, take out who she needs to take out. And no one will ever even have suspected it or even know. And so I thought that was interesting. I don't necessarily know if that's the direction in which the writers and the staff were going, but I thought that was interesting that the episode was named White Widow. Because who from the cast would be White Widow? Would it be Tiff or would it be Kenya? Or would it be Lene? All these things are starting to build up. And I ain't gonna lie to y'all gonna have to listen to this probably podcast style, because this video probably is gonna be long. I'm not even gonna lie. I took some notes because I was just like, it's too much going on. And I need to make sure, because there's some things that I need to talk about, I need to elaborate on. Okay, first we're gonna start off by saying the episode continues from last week's episode with Tiff and Nuck. You know that last scene that was in the last episode with Tiff and Nuck in the bathtub, and Nuck just told her that he loved her. Tiff did not say it back. And I'm like, finally, stand up, Tiff. Girl, because you in too deep, so you shouldn't even be that deep in with that man. That man is only telling you he loves you as a manipulation tactic. And I think she couldn't find herself to say it back, because had she not known what she know, after Papa and Lene have told her them two separate things about Nuck, now she's on guard. She's watching it. She's watching him. She's watching him. And she's not going to say it back because she don't even know if she really want to be tied to him like that for real. So I'm like, thank God, finally. Stand up, Tiff. Stand up. Next scene, Devontae is being interviewed by the social worker and is asking for his progress. So basically this is just a check-in, just her to check in and see how Devontae is doing. As we can see, the sessions that Devontae is having with Riley and being around the other two little boys, Tevin, and I found out that the other little boy was Patient's son, is really starting to, be a good thing for him. It seems like his attitude has changed. And I was a little worried about Rafi's son, Tevin, being a bad influence. But they just seem to be little kids. And, they are in the environments that they're in. But it seems like they still, at the base, are good kids. And so it doesn't seem like there's much to worry about. But he says everything is good. The social worker asked Keisha and Emmett how things are going with them. And Keisha said she just want to make sure everything is all right. And that her and Emmett are going to want to start couples counseling. And I think Keisha is just saying, these things because essentially she don't want nothing to happen to Devontae. She loves Devontae. She loves Emmett's kids. And like she said in the episode, further into the episode, that Emmett's children are basically her children. And so, plus Keisha has been pushing the marriage issue, sort of. And I think she just wants to make it look like Devontae comes from a stable home, which, their home is very stable. Devontae, when they say something about couples counseling, Devontae was like, why are y'all gonna break up? Like, I don't know if it was because Emmett was not with his mom or what, or if it was because Devontae had got used to being with Tiff because Emmett was married to Tiff and now he ain't married to Tiff no more, he with Keisha. So it was just said that kids like to make sure that their environment is stable. Sidebar, I was just wondering, I'm just trying to figure out what is all these kids, okay? Because one, we know that Emmett now has 4 kids by 4 different women. We've got that. Okay. So at the most, the household, to me, I understand that Emmett got multiple children, but Emmett's first baby mama son is always with him. We don't even see him. EJ is now with Tiff mama. So that's down 2 kids. We down to 3. So now he got Devontae, he got Ronnie, and he got baby Jada. Of course, baby Jada is with them all the time because that's Emmett and Keisha's daughter. And Ronnie is going to be with Keisha because that's her son. But Keisha also splits Ronnie's time with Nook. So I'm just like, so Ronnie might not even be there all the way full time. And then he now has Devontae full time. So at most, he got 2-3 kids. So people keep saying he got a city of kids. Emmett don't never have all his kids at the same time. So I'm just like, I'm trying to figure out, you know, what's all this they keep talking about? Because the child that they 100% would have all the time would be Jada. Everybody else children is shared. You know what I mean? So I was just thinking about that. I'm just like, they keep saying Emma got all these kids. We never even see all these kids on camera together. We never even really see all 5 kids together. You know what I mean? All the time. And sidebar, I also put in parentheses, where's Devontae mama at? Because I know Devontae mama came, I think her name is Shay. Shay came and told Emmett in the beginning of the season that she needed help with Devontae. But is Shay being updated on Devontae? Does she know Devontae has now began counseling? Are they including her? Are they calling her and filling her in on what's going on? Or are they just handling it themselves? And Shay just was like, oh, well, he with Emmett with Keisha now. And so she don't got to worry about it. What's the tea with that? I just want to know. Because is Shay being included in this parent-teacher situation? Because I think as a mama, she should know that it's a possibility if Devontae get in trouble again that, you know, they may take him. Does she know? I just want to know. Rafi and Reg are in the car, and Rafi is still hating on Bakari. So Rafi and Reg are in the G-Wagon watching Bakari. And I'm trying to figure out why they're watching Bakari. Like, Bakari is out here trying to get a delivery from food for Smokies. He's working his real job. His 9 to 5. He's working his 9 to 5. And they watching him. And so basically, Rafi tells Reg that he don't like Bakari and that he don't trust Bakari. Okay? And he says that Bakari is a traitor. And then Reg was like, you're a traitor. You stopped working with him. He was like, I know, but I had to. And then Rafi was like, you a traitor. You betrayed Big Mike. You stopped working with 63 Street Mall. And Reg was like, but Mike left him for dead. So it's a difference. So I'm just like, so Rafi, what was the point you were trying to make, fam? Because your point was voided and went out the window. Ain't none of y'all loyal. So I don't even know. And plus, Bakari ain't said nothing. He ain't told Reg about nothing got going on. He ain't said nothing. He just literally is pushing street candy for him. That's it. And so I'm just like, he don't trust you. Talking about he talked too much. He ain't said nothing to one person but Lene, and that's it. And Reg then again had to tell Rafi that he do trust Bakari. He know Bakari, even though Bakari ain't with nothing no more, Bakari is loyal still to Nuck because Bakari ain't told nobody nothing about nothing Nuck did. You know what I'm saying? Except for Lene. But, you know, that's different because Lene his girl. And then he's loyal to Jake, his brother. That's his brother friend. So it's just like, you know what I mean? I don't know why Rafi acting like that. So then the next scene moves to Bakari working throughout Smokey. So Bakari is waiting in tables. They putting out orders. He's taking the orders to the table. Bakari is moving street candy in Smokies. And he's doing, what's the word? When people have pickup, he taking people stuff out there and dropping it to people's car. Now that part made me a little weary because I'm just like, Bakari, you could be taking food to an undercover cop and you dropping street candy in a bag and anything. They could be building up a case toward you, toward Red, toward anybody, and you would never know. I just don't think that's moving smart. And then you doing it at Smokey, so that can actually get Emmett and Shanetta caught up in your nonsense. The next scene, we see Papa and Bakari having a chat. And so Papa is smoking and him and Bakari are smoking together. And you know, Papa buys street candy from Bakari. So now I'm like, Bakari tells Papa his money is no good, but it's still fat at Bakari. See, this is why you should have good friends. And to me, this shows a lack of friendship for Bakari and that he has for Papa. Because to me, Bakari know what kind of house Papa come from. I know Papa is grown and everything, and Papa is an individual. He got his own mind. But if Bakari was a real friend, he wouldn't even let Papa do that. He should have told Papa, no, I don't want you to get involved in this. Papa would have dang near had to go and purchase from somebody else. Bakari know what kind of home Papa grew up in. Bakari used to stay with Papa at his daddy house. He know his daddy is a minister. He know he grew up Christian. He know all of this stuff. And so if clearly Bakari can see something is wrong with Papa, because Bakari even asked, like, are you good? And then he asked him, did he want to talk about it? He said no. But the fact that he letting it, I'm just like, Bakari, y'all, I told y'all that Papa was going to start taking street candy. So now Papa is drinking, smoking, and taking street candy. He is self-medicating. Papa is going down slippery slope. I promise you, like, if Papa perish and slide the glory on accident, I'm going to be devastated. I'm going to be devastated. And Bakari, I'm going to be sad if Bakari slide the glory on accident, because Bakari is moving real reckless in them Chicago streets. Bakari is not doing. I'm just like, Bakari, you're not doing what you're supposed to do. You got free from that was your time to just push your book. Bakari, where is your book, gang? Where's your book? You supposed to be pushing your book. You pushing street candy. You need to be pushing that book the way you pushing that street candy. You could be out here making money for yourself. Listen, you could have been pushing your book at Smokey's. Hello? Like, I don't know. Like, where was the plan? We ain't heard about the book since the first episode, gang. What's going on? So, next scene we see Shad visits Nora. Shad visits Nora basically, and I think Shad visits Nora out of guilt, even though Shad is not in a new relationship with Patience, and he also tells Nora that. Nora is shocked, and she was just like, wow, you know, guys move on so fast. But Alicia's death has really, like, got Shad, like, worried for real, because one, he don't want to go back to jail, but two, is just like, you know, he feels bad because even though him and Alicia were not in a relationship no more, he still loved Alicia and he was still working for her. That was her security. And the night that, you know, Alicia perished, that was the night Shad was given a night off and that he was with Nora. And so he just feels sad, and now that he knows that Nora recanted her statement for Rashad to get out, he's worried that whoever paid her is going to know that she recanted her statement and is going to come after her for revenge. And so Nora tells Shad that after she had a talk with Patience told her that she would have some people watching her house. And so she's protected, but it's just the fact that, like, he's still weary because, you know, if something was to happen to Nora, that would be another, like, person that he would have on his conscience that lost their life, you know, because of something or lack of something that he did. So, you know, and I can understand, you know, I can understand Rashad and what he was thinking. And so I'm glad to see that he cared enough about Nora to even go check in on her to make sure she was good. And I also think that apart from, you know, finding out that Patience had somebody, you know, watching her house, I think he gonna be doing regular walkthroughs and drive-bys to make sure she good, to make sure everything ain't going on. But I do think Rosalind eventually is gonna come back or have somebody come for Nora. So, and I think Shad gonna be the one to find her. I just hopefully if he does, he immediately calls Patience and he don't do nothing himself. Hopefully he learned his lesson. Next we see Emmett and Darnell in the basement, kind of, I guess, fixing a speaker or something. I thought they was at Darnell's house trying to fix that doggone boiler. I was like, ooh, Darnell about to move out. But that's not the case. That's not the case. So basically Emmett tells Darnell that he's ready to propose to Keisha. And of course, this is music to Darnell's ears. He jumped the gun fast. He was like, when you want to do it? What time you want to do it? When you going to do it? How you going to do it? Do you got your mama ring? Da-da-da-da. And Emmett was just like, slow down. I don't know when I'm going to do it. I don't know how I'm going to do it. We're going to need somebody to watch the kids, I'm just ready. He was just like, but I don't want this to be a moment where it's going to end in divorce again, because I really do think, like, Emmett wanted his family to work out, but it just, I don't know. Tiff, and Emmett had his wrongs, but Emmett tried to correct him, and I just don't think Tiff was, I don't know. I wasn't really the fondest of Tiff during that time. I ain't gonna lie to you. And I think he's afraid, but honestly, like, I really think because of the friendship that Keisha and Emmett has always had, I think, Emmett just want to make sure everything is right for Keisha, because at the end of the day, this is his best friend. He won't cool with Tiff like the way he was cool with Keisha. You know what I'm saying? Him and Keisha have been through a lot. So I really think it does mean something for him, for like the proposal and everything to be perfect. Next scene, we see Keisha talking to Riley. Now, I think, I wish that the way that Keisha is talking to Riley, that Keisha's moms were still somewhat in the picture, or at least Dre. Because, I thought Dre was good, when Nina married Dre. But Keisha has started to develop this relationship with Jada, but now it seems that Riley is around. She's taking a liking to Riley. And so her and Riley are, doing girl stuff. Girls will be girls, you know what I mean? They paint each other nails or whatever, and they just talking. And Keisha tells Riley that she's thinking about proposing to Emmett. Now, girl, no. Girl, no. I feel what you're saying, Keisha, and I'm with you, girl. I understand what you're saying, because you did reject Emmett and you feel bad. And you know what I'm saying? Like, you told him no. But to your defense, Keisha, you told him no because he did technically propose under duress, even though the reason why he proposed was valid. It was still under duress nonetheless. And so I feel what you're saying, like, and he told you he was, he won't gonna get rejected for so many times. I feel you, Keisha, but no. Like, I just think some things should just stay conventional. I understand we live in an unconventional world, but some things should just not change. Some things should just hold up. I do end up thinking, because we've seen both Keisha and Emmett have discussions about wanting to propose to each other, I do think eventually one person is going to propose to the other one, and then the other one was like, oh my God, I was going to propose to you. And so they're going to end up proposing to each other at the same time. I think that's what's going to end up happening, which, I'm not against, but seeing Keisha propose to Emmett, I'm like, no ma'am, girl, you birthed that man baby. The least he can do is get down on one knee. I'm not getting down on no, I'm not getting, Keisha, no, don't get down on no knee for no man, girl. Let him do what he's supposed to. That's his way of showing his honor, sacrifice, and commitment to you. You didn't get no push gift. Did she get a push gift? I don't know. No, ma'am. I feel what y'all saying. I understand, but no. He got to do that. 13,000 kids in all. I don't care if all the sons got to get down on one knee with Emmett to propose to Keisha. No. But yeah, y'all, I still think they're going to end up proposing to each other, just because, we've seen both of them have conversations with, their elders about wanting to propose to each other. And of course, I think this is the next step in their commitment. They've been living together for years. They've been together for years. They've been together near about all their lives, really. And now they got a kid together. They taking care of each other's kids. Emmett loved Ronnie like Ronnie belonged to him. Keisha loved Devontae and EJ. And I forgot the other son name, like it hers. And so I'm just like, shoot, might as well. You know what I mean? Next scene we see Smitty going to the warehouse, and we see Nuck and we see Big Mike, and Smitty tells Nuck that Bakari is now moving street candy for Ridge. And Big Mike was like, I think we should just take all of them out. Rafi, Reg, and Bakari. And Nuck was like, so I don't care if he work but for Reg. Let him work for Reg. He don't got nothing to do with me no more. And so, after Big Mike says that, Smitty was like, I think we should just leave him alone because that's gonna bring too much attention to us. I'm just like, okay then, Smitty. Smitty, you can go ahead and be the logical one. The scene switches. Reg rolls up on Bakari when Bakari is off. Now, Bakari is off and he walking. I guess he walking to go catch the bus or whatever. But Reg rolls up on Bakari and basically he's following Bakari. And Bakari really don't want to be doing this for Reg, but he really need the money. And so I'm trying to figure out, Bakari, what you need the money for, gang? Like, you don't have any responsibilities to, you know what I mean? What you need all this money for? But anyway, so Reg's like, Bakari, where's my money? And he's like, why? And so he tells him, I gave you a certain amount of time or whatever. So Bakari walks up the car and gives Reg the money. And Reg counts the money. Reg act like he won't give Bakari his cut. Bakari got a real book. He was like, where's my money? Where's my money, gang? I need that. So then, Reg starts to hand Bakari some more street candy. And Bakari's like, no, I need my money. And so Reg gives him the money and then says, I gave you an advance. And he gives him some more street candy. And Bakari's like, okay, well, I'll move him. Oh, we see Tiff at Air Gold, and she's having it's not a smoke session, but she's getting Shanita, the girl who's the manager of Smokies, to try her new Mary Jane flower. She said she got a new fragrance of Mary Jane flower, and Jake is there, and so basically Tiff is like, oh, Jake, can you work the party for me? And Jake was like, yeah, I work the party for you, no problem. Can I bring my friends? And Tiff is like, nah, this ain't that kind of event. So I'm guessing Tiff is trying to throw an upscale party or something like that. And so basically she's getting Smokies to cater the food. Now, one thing I can say is that I do appreciate how the people in this universe help build each other's business. So Tiff is getting Smokies to cater event, even though Emmett is her ex-husband. She's still, buying food to support his business, which essentially supports her because EJ is their child, to help, you know what I mean? I find it, I was like, that's dope. But yeah, so Shanita got Smokies all down, Shanita don't play. She don't play. She is good. Next we see the men's circle. So the men's finally have their circle session at Charles's barbershop, which I still don't trust Charles, because who is Charles working for? I'm glad nothing important was said. I'm glad that nothing important was said at that session. But they sitting there talking. It's Darnell, Bakari, Papa, I think Jake was there, Rashad, Trig, Emmett. So they all talking. And so basically, I forget what was said, but the most important part was Bakari was like, yeah, I don't work for nothing no more. And then Rashad was like, you finally out the street. And so, Rashad is kind of like Bakari's father figure or his mentor in this. But I can't wait till Rashad and them find out that Bakari is working for Reg. I do think that Trig and Shad is going to intervene on Bakari's behalf with that whole thing. Because, Trig don't play. Reg already on thin ice. And Reg respects Rashad. And so I just feel like, yeah, Bakari's doing this. They could also tell that they was holding information and they won't saying something and they was lying about something. But Emmett was like, Bakari, you making good money at Smokies. And Bakari's like, but it's not enough. And so Emmett was just like, you better not be doing that stupid. And then they all knew that they was lying about something. Because Papa even they noticed that Papa looked at dang, can I get it out? They even noticed that Papa looked at Bakari weird. And so they asked Papa, they was like, Papa, you got something to say? And Papa was like, no. And they was like, are you sure you good? And Papa was like, he's good. So I'm just like, dang. Papa did talk to Kenya about how he's feeling, but I don't know, y'all. It's just, Papa and him, I don't know. They ended up having a conversation. Papa, Jake, and Bakari ended up having a conversation. And so I think Bakari was like, do y'all ever think about leaving the Shy? And Papa was like, yeah. Bakari was like, yeah. And Jake was like, no. And then Bakari was like, I'm not Bakari. Papa was like, Jake, you don't want to get your passport? He was like, why would I want to leave the country where I'm going? And, you know, Jake is very much, you know, a person that will stay somewhere forever. And not that that's a bad thing, but sometimes I feel like that can be a bad thing and that can cause a disadvantage. Because sometimes I do think you need to leave a place. Because sometimes you can be so caught up in a world and in a situation that you don't want to change. But some people just like to live a very simple lifestyle, and that's okay too. And Jake ain't involved in none of that street stuff. He watch who he with. He don't be with many people really. And so he just want to get his money and just live his life. And you can't be mad at that either. Keisha and Amaya are hanging out at Smokey's. I want to like Amaya, but I feel like Amaya is trifling. So, but anyway, Keisha has found a friend in Amaya. They hanging at Smokey's. They talk about the kids. They talk about everything. Keisha tells Amaya that she's thinking about proposing to Emmett. And then she was like, really? She was like, because, you know, we do all this stuff for these men. We have their kids, take care of their kids. Da, 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 da. She was like, Emmett should put a ring on your finger or whatever like that. And so I was just like, okay, Amaya, girl. But she said that Amaya said that her son is doing better now that he has friends to hang out with. And so I was happy to hear that because, you know, we don't want the youth to be troubled. We want the youth to have a bright future and to do well. So I was okay with that. We see the three little boys hanging out at the rec center and they talking about girls. And the first thing I thought about was the first time we, very in the beginning of Shy, when they were standing, Jake, Kevin, and Papa, was standing in the hallway at school, and they was talking about Maisha cousin. I can't remember her name, but Kevin wanted to take her out, and so that really reminded me of that. And like the way they looked, like it was just very reminiscent of that, and I thought that was cute. And I was just like, dang, this could be like the next generation of the Shy. But y'all, too bad, because I saw an interview with Lena and she said she won't doing no Shy spinoffs. And I was like, dang, this would be a good way to keep the show going. But, you know, she said she don't want the storylines to be redundant. So I guess this was our little way of, you know, getting a little taste of, you know, something reminiscent, you know. Bakari shows up late to work and Shanita is sitting there at the desk and she asked Bakari why he late and he just was like, I gotta do something. Gave a very vague answer. She was like, Bakari, I'm not slow. I know what's going on. And she was just like, you better be careful. And then he was like, I guess why you say that? And she was like, because I used to be in them streets. And he was like, and what made you stop? She was like, I went to jail. And I don't know. I'm just like, Bakari, I don't know how many wake up. I don't know how many wake up calls you need, gang. You done had a whole lot of angels you passed by on your way that want you to do good. And you just bypassing all these warnings. You just bypassing all these warnings. And I'm just like, But yeah, he tells her he'll never let it happen again. And she just goes on with it. Now, there was this one time where I think I'm gonna get to that, where Lene popped up and Smokey's looking for Bakari, and Shanita was packing them bags, and all I could think was, girl, I hope she don't go in them bags and see that street candy at the bottom of them bags. Oh my God. Well, yeah. Rafi asked Reg. Okay, so now we at Reg. We at Candace's house. And we see Rafi. And he asked Reg for more work. And Reg basically tells him he don't have nothing to give him because he gave the rest to Bakari. Of course, immediately, that made Rafi mad. And so, Rafi was like, well, why you give it to him or whatever? And Reg was like, honestly, because he moved street candy faster than you. And Rafi was like, that's because he don't got nothing to do. He don't got no responsibilities. He got all this free time all day. And Rafi was like, I got stuff to do, basically saying he got a kid, he was responsible. And you know what, Rafi, I don't like you like that, Rafi, but you know, I can respect that. You know, you had a kid, you got a kid, and you take your responsibility serious, and you put your family first. That's honorable. And so Jackie is sitting on the couch playing the game with Reg, and so Jackie says something, and Rafi replies real disrespectful. And I just don't like the fact that Rafi be quick to call a girl out her name. He quick to call a girl a B, and I don't like that. I don't like that at all. And so basically Jackie was like, I think Rafi threatened her, and she pulled the strap on him. She was about to smoke Rafi. And Reg was like, if you do that, I'm gonna have to, you know, smoke you. And she was like, he told her to put the peach down. And then Rafi insulted her and was like, something along the lines of, don't be mad because you want me or you won't. Basically, he implied something, you know, I don't know, it was giving assault. And I was just like, Rafi, that's not cute. I know y'all think, and I know y'all think that it's cute to try to think you can convert a woman if she decides that she don't want to be with men, or she's masculine presented. I know y'all think that's humbling, or you trying to emasculate her or something, but that's not cute. I was offended. And that, I mean, that's not the lifestyle that I live, but that's the life that she chose, and you should respect that. Like, I was not okay. I was not okay with him saying that to her. And it was given like he was gonna try to sneak and assault her or something. And I was just like, oh no, that wasn't cute, because for that I will be okay with her, you know, taking you out. Cause why would you threaten her like that? I wasn't feeling that at all. I was like, Rafi, you got to go. Like, I was like, don't let Jackie catch you slipping. Jackie got a rep. I don't know if you know about Sub, but tread lightly, Rafi. Tread lightly. Lene shows up to Smokey's. Okay, I said that a little earlier. Lene shows up to Smokey's looking for Bakari. Now, Bakari told Renee, who was Renee? Bakari told Lene that he was going to be at work. So she was at the counter waiting on him. And so she asked Shanita where Bakari was at. But Shanita was like, Bakari's not here. He's not working today. And so basically Bakari told Lene he was at work because he omitted to Lene that he is now working for Reg, pushing street candy. And so Shanita was like, I told Bakari to be careful. And so that's how Lene found out that Bakari is back working in the street. She don't know who he working for and what he doing, but now she know. And Shanita was like, the street life can be hard to leave. And I just, you know, I feel bad for Lene because, you know, she really cares for Bakari, but Bakari gotta want to care for himself. And she always said that she didn't want to be a street dude. She always saw the potential in Bakari and knew that Bakari was a good person. But Bakari gotta want to change. And He keeps saying he need the money, he need the money. And we have yet to find out what Bakari need the money for. So the scene switches and we see Riley and Darnell having a discussion. They just basically talking, you know, kikiing and whatnot. And so basically, Riley was like, I got some tea I need to tell you, but you can't say nothing. He was like, what? She was like, why did Keisha tell me she wanted to propose to Emmett? Darnell was like, what? Emmett just told me he wanted to propose to Keisha. She was like, for real? He was like, I'm gonna have to put fire on Emmett because Keisha can't be proposing to Emmett. He was like, my heart would jump out my chest he was like, no. And you know, like, I can respect Darnell's. I can respect Darnell wanting Emmett to do it because Darnell is traditional. And I feel like most men are. And even though he was happy because he was just like, they both on the same page, it was meant to be. Because Darnell loves Keisha. And he feels like Keisha's a good woman. And I think he also sees a lot of Jada in Keisha. And so, like, he's trying to get Emmett to do the right thing. But he was just like, you know, he missed out on so many moments on, I guess, helping Emmett to become a man that, you know, this moment here. Because he wasn't around, I don't think, when Emmett proposed to Tiff. Or if he was, but he wasn't around like that. I think that this is his moment to finally, like, be in Emmett's life and kind of help steer Emmett how to be a good husband. You know what I mean? Or he's around to, you know, help Emmett raise his family, even though he wasn't around to raise his own family like that because he had kids everywhere. And so, Riley insists on Darnell not saying nothing because, you know, she don't want to betray Keisha's trust. But I still do think Darnell gonna end up saying something to Emmett for real. I don't know. We'll see. Oh, here we go. Jackie, we see Jackie meet with Brittany. Jackie meets with Brittany at a bar. And I was just like, oh, hey, Brittany. Nice to see you. What's tea, sir? Where you been at? And I didn't even know that Jackie and Brittany knew each other because I don't recall seeing Jackie and Brittany, you know, socializing in the last season. But Brittany tells Jackie that, you know, as we know, Brittany left to go to New York with Gemma to pursue her dream for music. And it's not really working out in New York. So Brittany is running, I guess, low on money. And she needs help trying to get her rap career off the ground. And so they talk about that. And so I guess Jackie just tells Brittany that she might need to move back or she need to try hard. She need to find something to do. And Jackie tells Brittany that Bakari is working for Reg. Now, this is news to Brittany because, as everyone else, Brittany thought that Reg had perished. And so Jackie said, nope, he is alive and well, and Bakari is working for him. And actually, Jackie tells Brittany that she needs to get to Bakari before it's too late. So I'm just like, I'm a little skeptical because, Jackie, what made you say that? I mean, he working in the crew with you. So, you know, I don't think Reg has Jackie moving street candy. So I'm just like, what made you say that? What made you say that? And I'm guessing maybe she said that because Brittany is her homegirl, and so she don't want her brother getting caught up. You know what I mean? I don't necessarily know. I don't think Bakari knew that Brittany and Jackie was homegirls. But nonetheless, she did inform Brittany, and so Brittany is on her way to find Bakari. Next, we see Lene. Bakari is sitting at the house, and Lene is in there, and she was doing laundry, and she confronts Bakari about not being at work. So she said, I went to work looking for you today, or whatever, and Bakari was just like, why you spying on me now? And she was like, no, but do I need to? And he was just like, no, I'm grown or whatever. And she was just like, well, what are you doing? He was like, I don't make enough money at Smokies. And she says herself, why do you need all this money? Like, what are you doing? And he was just like, why are you worried about me? And she was just like, I don't know why you talking to me like that, because every time I leave you, you always crying, begging for me to come back. And so he was just like, I'm not going to beg you to come back. I don't got to beg you for nothing. And then they put him out. And I was like, Bakari, you're tripping. You are tripping. And you're ungrateful. Now, Bakari, I was always on your side and I defended you. Do not disrespect me, Bakari, because I defended you. Lene has done nothing but try to do right by you. And you just keep letting her down. She has fought for you. She has avenged you. She has taken up for you. She dang near risking her life for you. Putting her life on the line for you. You ain't asked her to, but nonetheless, because she love you and she wants you to see you change, she wants the best for you. And you talking to her any kind of way while she let you, you was homeless, gang. She took you in. You ain't had nowhere to go. You ain't got no money, and you can't keep no money to get you no place, and you can't even keep you no money to keep you no ride. So you talking to her shiesty like that? She put him out. I was like, Lene, I'm with you when you're right. So I'm with you. I'm with you when you're right. Get out. Because you got to know that I'm not them street dudes. Okay? Bakari, it could be whatever up in here if you want it to be. You better act like you know. Yeah, Lene, put him out. He got out too. No argument. Sorry, my camera cut off, but I was like, yeah, Lene. Yeah, turn up on him, girl. Put him out. Put him out, girl. Put him out, sis. All right. So next we see the party that Tiff is throwing at Ergo. We see that Shada's working there. The Smoky staff are working there, you know, providing wait service for the guests. Jake is there, and Jake is scrolling social media, and he goes across Desiree's story, and he sees Desiree posted up with another dude. And I was like, I know it was something about Desiree I couldn't trust. Jake get mad, he get his feelings. He claimed he wasn't jealous. He tried that. Jake be trying to act on big and bad. Jake, you ain't fooling nobody, gang. So then Jake goes over to Bakari and tells Bakari that he see that Desiree posted up on Instagram with some other dude. And Bakari was like, for real? And then Bakari was just like, man, maybe she just posting that to try to make you jealous or whatever. You know, girls always do that or whatever. And so Jake ends up saying something else, and Bakari was like, well, I don't know. I don't really be on socials like that. Now we know why you wasn't out here promoting your book like that, because you don't be on socials like that. So Jake ends up going up to Desiree, who is at the party, I guess, doing social media work for the party. And he was just like, who was the other dude you was on your story with? And she was like, what? Why? And he was like, who was he? And she was like, that was my ex. And he was just like, so you posted stories with your ex to try to make me jealous? And she was like, why are you? I don't think he said no, but they got this whole tick for tat thing back and forth and thing going. And I'm just like, Jake, just tell the girl you like her, you want to be with her already. Stop pulling that girl through the ringer. So then she decided to take a picture of Jake and add it to her story. And she basically told Jake she only does it to mess with people because she know that she can get a rise out of people, because getting a rise out of people is how you get more eyes on your social media page, and that's how you get more traction. People gonna follow you by shaking the table. So she posted him, and he shut up. I was like, Jake, that's all it took for you. You want to be on her story, Jake? That's all right. Just tell the girl you like her, man. Just tell her you like her. Bakari also tells Jake that Lene put him out. Now, Jake, don't even you tread a little lightly. Because, first of all, you don't even know why. You don't even know why Lene put Bakari out. Oh, wait. Okay. Sorry, I'll read my notes. I think I skipped over a part in my notes because I don't see it no more. But I did write it down. When that whole thing with Bakari and Jake and Papa. Bakari did end up telling Jake and Papa that that he was working and moving street candy for Reg. And so I was about to say maybe Jake told Bakari forget Lene before he knew that. But I think that was definitely after. I think Bakari definitely told Jake that Lene put him out after he had already told him about him moving street candy for Reg. Because I was about to bring that up, but never mind. I think that happened way before that. So excuse, because I was about to say, oh yeah, Jake not about to be on Bakari's side no more, but never mind. But I was just like, Jake, nonetheless, tread lightly. Not too much on my son Lene. Because you don't know why she put Bakari out. And you can't get mad because you don't put Bakari out. When Bakari was staying at your house, you put him out. So not too much from you, friend. Not too much. Nuck shows up to the party. Okay, so we see Kenya and Lene sitting off in the corner. And this was the part of the trailer that was like pivotal, right? So Nuck walks into the party. Nuck sees Bakari there. Lene sees Nuck and she tells Kenya that she don't like him. She greatly... And I think Nuck saw Lene and Lene was over there like this. Lene gonna keep her a screw face. She do not care. She's gonna keep her a screw face, okay? And so basically, Lene was like, I don't like him. Kenya was like, I don't like him either. Especially because of what he did. Lene was like, girl, what he do? I was like, Lene, shut up, girl. Shut up, girl. Do not. Lene, shut up. Do not say nothing. You ran your mouth too much last time. Just listen. Just get the tea. Don't spill none. So Lene's like, girl, what happened? She was like, girl, I know what he did. And she was like, girl, what he do? So I'm like, Lene, don't say nothing about her daddy. Don't say nothing about her daddy, Lene. She was like, girl, I know. And she was like, who told you? She was like, Zay, girl. Zay told me what Nuck did. She was like, well, girl, I can't say nothing else to Tiff without no proof. Kenya was like, girl, I got proof. I said, ooh, girl, you do. What happened? Kenya, girl, tell us what happened. Tell us what you know, so what happened? What you know? We as the audience already know that Zay told Kenya that Nuck took out Rob, right? But we didn't know that Zay gave Kenya proof. That was new news. And I was like, well, my Lipton teacup, okay? Because this is tea, girl. What you got? Let me see. Show me the receipts, girl. We love receipts. So Kenya was like, I'll show you, but not here. I was like, ooh, Lene, girl. Ooh, girl. So, Nuck jacks Bakari up at the party, right? So I'm just like, here we are at this nice fine establishment, Nuck, and you cause this is your lady party. She got all these people in here spending a good, hard-earned money, and you wreck her party. Bakari is in here trying to make him some money, and you jack him up. Now here I am thinking, you cool on Bakari, you just gonna chill because you still care for him, but you jack him up at the party. So then Tiff gets in between Nuck and Bakari, separates them. Nuck tells Tiff, get him out of here. Bakari walks up to Tiff and Nuck, and he whispers to Nuck, wait till she find out what you did. I said, ooh, Nuck, okay, Bakari just might be crazy. I said, oh, Bakari, you must be crazy. Now, Nuck, Bakari ain't never said nothing about your secret, but you pushed him. Nuck, you pushed him. You messed up, Nuck. That was a miscalculation. That was an error on your behalf, gang, because why would you do that? So he walked up to them plain as day. It was like, wait till you find out. At this point, Bakari was like, do it. And the whole reason why Nuck ain't been doing nothing to Bakari is because of what was told to Tiff, right? So now that he said that to Nuck, Nuck said in front of Tiff, I got to take him out. And she said, don't you say that. So Tiff, sister, that interaction was all you needed to know and see to separate yourself from Nuck. Separate yourself. That's all you need to see. Separate yourself, sir. That's all you need to see. I don't know what it's gonna take for you to tear up the whole air goal. Like, I don't know. So I'm just like, And in my notes, I put, I hope Tiff took heed. Cause listen, Tiff. Also, because I forgot to mention this during the party, Tiff and Keisha did have a small conversation. And one thing I did not like, and I don't like about the Shy, is that they try to push Tiff and Keisha being like besties. I don't really vibe with that, because I understand that they gotta be cool for the kids and they can be friendly, but being besties like homegirls, I don't really see that. And not because of the whole thing, but I think it's just messy. I think that whole thing could be messy, like between, you know, Keisha being with Emmett, and Emmett, you know, used to being married to Tiff. And, you know, it was cool while they was with Rob. You know, it was cool when Rob was in the equation. But now that Nuck is in the equation, I don't like that, because I'm just like, you going to his baby mama, who also share a baby with your baby daddy, to tell her that, oh, well, he told me he loved me. And then you saying to her, I don't know how you would feel about it. And she was just like, I don't feel no way about it because Emmett is my man. I just thought that whole transaction was weird. I don't know. Maybe that was just me. And, you know, I don't know. Maybe I'm immature on some ends. But I just thought that was a lot. And it also reminded me of when they first met, Alicia and Isha was like, what kind of ghetto mess is this? Because, no, for real. Like, it would be cool, like, if he was telling her, like, Rob told me he loved me, you know, something like that. Or Rob. And then Keisha exchanged, you know, a secret with her and was like, girl, I'm thinking about proposing to Emmett. And I'm just like, that's weird, because this Emmett ex-wife, and you telling him he thinking about proposing to you. I mean, Tiff did say she was happy for her, and that, you know, Emmett loved her, and that she loved, you know, they supported each other, whatever. It was just still weird to me. I don't know. So we see Patience and Shad. Shad comes forth to Patience and tells Patience that he did go visit Nora. And so she just basically, she was cool the whole time she was talking to him about it, because she was just like, well, why would you go visit Nora? And Shad just basically tells her that he's afraid for Nora. You know, he already messed up and is having a hard time because he feels like what happened to Alicia was his fault, because he was supposed to be protecting Alicia that night. And he found her body. And so he just wants to make sure that the same thing don't happen to Nora. And Patience, you know, reiterates to him that she has somebody watching Nora's house and that Nora should be good. And he was just like, that's all, you know, that he cares about. And I appreciated the maturity of that conversation, because any other woman probably would have been jealous and was like, well, why do you care about what happened to her? Blah, 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 blah. But this is like a serious thing, because somebody's life could possibly be on the line. So I was like, you know what, I appreciate that, Rashad. Brittany pops up on Bakari at Smokey's. So Bakari is basically like, well, what are you doing here? And Brittany was like, well, you know, the whole thing ain't working out with rap or whatever. And he was just like, are you still with Gemma? And she was just like, barely, you know, like, we're barely holding on. And so Bakari tells Brittany that Lene put him out. And so she was just like, I'm thinking about leaving. And so Bakari was basically like, you came all this way to tell me you're gonna leave me again. And so here we are, you know, seeing that, you know, Bakari deals with, you know, abandonment a little bit. And so Brittany was like, I actually came back for you. And then Bakari was like, what you mean? And so that kind of piggybacks off that conversation earlier where Bakari and Papa and them was having a conversation about leaving Chicago. And so Brittany was like, no, I came back for you because I don't want to leave you again. I want you to come with me. And so I was like, Bakari, I think that you should take this deal. I think that you should leave and go with your sister. But Bakari's not going to do that. He's not going to do that. And he should do that. Like, he should, but he's not. He tells her he don't want to leave Chicago. And come to find out, I'm thinking now, because something was said about Brittany needing money and that her money was running out. So I'm thinking that Bakari was doing all this hustling on the street to give money to Brittany. Because I think if I heard correct, I think I heard Bakari say something along the lines to Brittany like, where you gonna get money from? Because XYZ, because you're gonna need money for studio time. So I'm thinking Bakari was sending money to Brittany. That's why he ain't never have none, because he trying to help her get her rap career off. And so if that was the case, a smidgen of me now is a little bit more understanding. I'm a little bit more understanding. Still ain't for it. No. But I'm slightly a little bit more understanding. So next we see Kenya playing a recording for Lene. So come to find out, I'm guessing Zay told Kenya to record this if anything happens to him, because I think Zay knew that something was going on between Nuck and him. And I don't know what exactly, well, you know that Zay's tried to start working for Alicia and Alicia was trying to come for Nuck. So because Nuck didn't want to touch Zay because Zay was his blood cousin, Nuck had Zay touched. And so Zay knew that basically because of what, you know, the conversation that Zay and Nuck had before Zay passed. And so Zay basically had Kenya recorded and was like, I'm just telling you this because I want you to know that if anything is said, Nuck offed Rob. And I want you to have this as proof that he did it. Me telling you that he did it. And I'm just like, okay, Zay prepared Kenya. And that's one thing that we did not know. We did not know that Zay prepared Kenya. So I'm just like, dang. And so, I just thought that was crazy, because I'm just like, that's the proof. They're going to take that proof to Tiff. Now, I think it's going to be different this time, because if Lene and both Kenya take this recording to Tiff, Tiff's going to have the proof that she needs. Now, I'm going to need Tiff not to say nothing. So Tiff, when you get his information, sister, don't say nothing. Just move. Don't say nothing. Just move. Bakari is chilling at Reg's house. Reg tells Bakari to go get some chips. Rafi is there. You know Rafi can't stand Bakari. So Rafi was like, why you at the store? Get me some chips. Bakari, they have some kind of exchange. And Bakari tells Rafi to do it. They start fighting. Jackie gets up, breaks it up. Reg said, no, let them fight. So Bakari and Rafi started fighting. Bakari beat the dog out of Rafi to the point where he was stumping him out so bad, Jackie had to pull him up off him because he was going to probably take Rafi out. This right here, this interaction is going to motivate Rafi to off Bakari. Now I'm worried because I don't know if I mentioned this a couple episodes ago, but when Bakari told Rafi he would off him the first time, but Rafi said, I'm not Ronnie. I will aim back. So I'm just like, this is all the motivation. So I don't think that Nook would take Bakari out. I think Rafi gonna be the one to do it. And I think I said that in one of my other videos because Rafi keep walking around saying he don't like Bakari, And he already has built up this jealousy and animosity of Bakari because Nook chose Bakari over him. And now Rafi has been with Reg and now Reg has chosen Bakari over him. Now, any event that Rafi takes Bakari out, if that happens, Reg is going to then take Rafi out. I'm thinking that's how that's going to go. And then because that happens, Nook might get mad and then it might be a war against Reg and Nook. So either way, things are brewing. Because now that motivates two people to take Bakari out. But when Tiff, because Lene still ain't told Kenya about what she told Tiff. And she said she told Tiff something, but Tiff didn't believe her because she didn't have proof. Now, if they take that recording to Tiff and tell Tiff about Rob, Tiff probably is going to say something to Kenya while Lene is there about Pastor Zeke. And to me, that could give both Kenya and Tiff the motivation to take out Nook. They could be a team, who knows? But still, it's gonna give one of them two motivation to do it. Also, if something happens to Bakari and Emmett finds out, Emmett might get mad at Nook and go toward Nook himself. So it's just a lot of moving parts. And then, like, if, I don't know, y'all. We're going to have to see how all this goes. Because I'm thinking, like, now, if Tiffany do take out Nook, I wonder if Tiffany going to say something to Reg. I'm not Reg. I wonder if Tiffany going to say something to Trig about it. So, it's just, you know, it's a lot. And so, the final scene is Tiff asks Nook about what Bakari said and the camera's cut. And I'm just like, oh, my God. Is Nook going to sit here and lie again? Or is Nook going to come forward and tell the truth about what he did to Rob? It's finna go up for him. Next episode gonna be T. In the story pacing, it's gonna probably pick up a lot because we're gonna be on episode 5. We're gonna be halfway through the season. So yeah, y'all. Sorry this one is long. If you stay with me this long, I appreciate it. Leave me your comments down below. Leave me down below what you think gonna happen. I appreciate you. I'll be back next Friday with episode 5 review. This is